Welcome to the commentary booth where we watch and you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator Jamie Ups, and each week I'm joined by a rotating cast of colour commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week I'm joined by an impact fee technician who lists their favourite movie as A Nightmare on Elm Street and favourite TV show as Golden Girls. Welcome back to the show, Corrina Mabey.
Hello, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is. It is wine o'clock. That's all I care about.
I was about to say that. No matter what time it is, it's wine time.
It is wine o'clock. I'm not mad about it.
What is that jumper?
My sweatshirt.
It's a jumper, but what?
It's a sweatshirt, and it's a friend's sweatshirt. There we go. I can't
Thought
get
it
angles
looked like
right.
a friend's shirt.
I'm trying to pivot in the frame right now. Okay.
So, how is life?
It's good. You know. I'm getting my child. She's just like, yeah, she's just like, I'm here. And then she goes, oh, you're recording. Oops. She slowly backs away. Life is spectacular. I've been working on decorating my cubicle.
Yep, hard at work.
You know, it's cool. I can't talk to you about it though, because you don't know anything about my movie. So that's an episode for another time. But commentary with just know, Jamie Apps has never seen Christmas Vacation, one of the best Christmas movies to ever exist, and I'm really, really disappointed.
I'm fine.
It's fine. We're changing it. Don't worry. If I had to watch Top Gun for the first time this year, you're watching Christmas Vacation for the first time.
Oh boy. Okay, so we were invaded by a child, which is okay because today we are digging into the archives and refreshing our memory on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory as we prepare for the upcoming release of Wonka.
Yeah,
this one,
not to the Wonka, but yes to the old one.
Well, from the early reviews that have come out from the world premiere, it's apparently not too bad. Apparently pretty good. But today we are watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which was released in 1971, starring Gene Wilder as the titular candyman, Willy Wonka. This is a musical fantasy film based on the 1964 novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. And the story follows a incredibly poor child, Charlie Bucket, who upon finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, wins the chance to visit Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, along with 4 other children from all around the world. Before we dig into the various bits and pieces that we have as notes, when did you first watch this movie and what is your sort of recollection of it before we go into the rewatch?
I've been watching this movie religiously, probably off and on whenever I want, since I was like 3, 4, maybe. I don't know. My grandmother introduced me to it. It was a staple in my mom's life when she was like younger. I mean, it came out in, you said, the 70s. So, I mean, my mom watched it as like a teen. But yeah, no, I was brought up on this movie along with a lot of other classic musicals in the world. So this shaped my childhood, and it's probably why I'm so fucking weird.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I'm the same. Like I don't remember when the first time I watched this was, but I've definitely watched it like multiple times since. Like there was definitely periods where it was pretty much a yearly thing. You'd watch, or more sometimes, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I mean, I brought my daughter up on it. Like, she has seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but she is the same way I am, where this is the only Willy Wonka movie in her library, because it is a classic staple, and it was just fantastic. Gene Wilder is fantastic in general, so anything with him is a gold star for me.
Yeah, only when we finished our rewatch of this I watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And that was a mistake. That was a big mistake.
Yeah, you wasted like 2 hours of your life for no damn reason.
Yeah, that's not a good one. But
No.
also, like, according to Roald Dahl, this one is not a good one.
Right.
Which is
this one was loved by audiences. Like, it's, okay.
Was it?
I like to think it was loved by audiences because I loved it so much, and everybody in my life has loved it so much. But
yeah, not initially. So they made this for a budget of $3 million, which obviously at that time in the 1970s was an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah.
And it only made $4 million in the box office. So like it was kind of a failure.
A flop.
At the cinemas, but then it was with like no sort of home movies at the time as well. Like VHS, I don't believe were out at that time. So it was kind of like, if you didn't see it in the cinema, the only way you got to watch this was to see it on TV. And then from what I was reading, when it initially came to TV, one of the first times it was on, I think it was NBC in the US. It was supposed to come on after a college football game, which then went into extra time and ran an extra 40 minutes. So then instead of just starting the movie 40 minutes late,
oh my God, they did it 40 minutes in. Oh my God. So you miss everything.
It was pretty much finished because this movie isn't that long.
It's like 90 minutes long. Yeah.
So it was pretty much at the midway point. Like they would have already been at the Chocolate Factory and missed like the whole Willy Wonka introduction, which I think is one of the most special parts of the movie.
Yeah, that's bonkers to me. Like I've never had to go through that whole like let's wait till it comes on TV moment because I've just always had it. I had it on VHS and I've had it on DVD now for like the longest time. So
yeah, now it's on. I think here in Australia, it's on like 3 streaming platforms. Like it's super widely available. And it's like it went from like a cult classic of only specific people liked it to now it's weird if someone hasn't seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, it is kind of strange because I feel like anytime you mention it, most people, majority of people think of this one. But there are a few that you come across and they're like, no, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm like, no, it is not. That is the book and the really crappy movie.
Yeah, I occasionally say Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, meaning this one.
Yeah,
because that's what the book's called. The movie is about Charlie going to the Chocolate Factory, so it probably should be Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, not Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
which kind of plays into why Roald Dahl isn't a fan of this interpretation of his book, because there was a bunch of rewrites by the director David Seltzer and Mel Stewart, which he didn't approve, which Roald Dahl didn't approve. When you're adapting someone's book, probably should get approval from them if you want to do some rewrites. So he essentially disowned the film and was infuriated by the plot deviations. He considered the music to be saccharine, sappy, and sentimental. And he was disappointed that the film placed too much emphasis on Willy Wonka and not enough on Charlie, which that one I don't really see like the complaint. Like I feel like in this movie,
I feel like it's equal,
pretty much equals.
Yeah, because they do a lot of backstory on Charlie. You see his life and his like home life and the way he's brought up versus like the other children that are involved, and then you also get Wonka. So I feel like it was a really good balance. But I mean, to each their own. I'm sure he was just kind of pissed because his book essentially did not get the film adaptation that he wanted so badly originally.
Yeah. Like I think this one you get all of the backstory on Charlie, so you have a connection to him. You want him to like get to the Chocolate Factory, and then even when they are there, and we're sort of getting a bit more of the focus does shift a little bit more to Willy Wonka and his wackiness and the wackiness of the factory. We're still
Right.
seeing it through sort of the lens of Charlie and how he's interpreting what these kids are doing and what the craziness of this factory is all about.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of like an unfair assessment of the film to say that one outweighed the other, because I don't feel like it did.
Yeah. Like I understand him being disappointed with the rewrites, not being a fan of the music. Like it is very like cheesy, happy-go-lucky music. There's no, apart from that
Yeah.
one song that is like very dark and disturbing on the boat.
That boat scene. We'll get to that.
Yeah. And then his other big complaint was the actual casting of Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka, because Roald Dahl wanted Spike Milligan to get the role.
I don't know who that is. But
He's
I also didn't do
another
any research
actor
on
of
this
the period.
movie. Oh, okay. Gene Wilder is a fucking godsend. That movie would not be what it is today if it weren't for Gene Wilder, because I feel like most people associate Gene Wilder with like funny, quirky kind of characters anyway. So, it just kind of falls into place of what his normal kind of roles are. But
Yep.
Whatever.
So then, yeah, since the movie came out, it was nominated for Best Original Score at the 44th Academy Awards. Obviously didn't win that one. And then it won Best Performance in a Comedy or Musical by Gene Wilder at the 29th Golden Globes. So I think that goes to prove that they made the right choice in the casting.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't go wrong with him, honestly.
So then the other couple of production notes I had were, do you know where the external shots for the factory were filmed and what that building actually was?
No, it really honestly looks like Germany, but I know it's not. So
No, it is.
I don't. Oh, is it really?
The movie was
Oh, I was
filmed.
gonna say it looks very Germany-esque.
It was filmed in Munich between August and November of 1970. The external shots of the factory were filmed at the Gasworks Stadtwerke München, and the entrance and side buildings of where we go into the chocolate factory, those buildings still exist to this day.
Really?
So yeah, if you go to Munich, you can go
Note to self.
Willy's chocolate factory and get a photo outside.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I never really guess right when it comes to those kind of things. But yeah, the outside structures reminded me just of architecture in Germany. So that's kind of fun.
Yep. And then the 3-course bubblegum machine was originally supposed to be just like a big solid machine. There wasn't supposed to be all the weird wacky elements on it. But the director requested that the appliance had a more visual experience for the audience. So they put all the weird bloop bloop bits and pieces on it.
The robot arms.
Yep. And then he also instructed them to have all the props, furniture, and fittings, including the light bulbs in Willy Wonka's office, to be cut in half to reflect the character's eccentricity. He just didn't want it to be boring. His quote was, "I couldn't face the thought of ending the journey through this fabulous factory in just an ordinary looking office." And I was like, yeah, that's really cool. It would have been weird to go from this wacky factory with a chocolate river and the whole place is edible to and with paper wallpaper and stuff like that, and then you go to just a boring room with a desk.
Yeah, I always loved that when I was younger. I was just like, that is the coolest thing, half a statue, half a piece of paper. It's super cool.
Yep. And talking about the edible elements inside the factory, about a third of the props in the chocolate room were edible. There was a chocolate watermelon. The gumballs were edible. The giant mushrooms were filled with whipped cream.
Yes.
The leaves on the trees were edible. But the giant gummy bears were plastic. Only the ears could be eaten. So So that's why we
That's
see.
disappointing.
I think it's Mike TV bites into like the ear of one of them.
Yes, that's disappointing because we have giant gummy bears. At least over here, we have the huge ones you can buy that are like
Yeah.
that size.
The wallpaper wasn't actually flavored, which doesn't really
Damn.
come as a shock to me.
That's a letdown.
And then we see Willy Wonka pull the tea off the plant and drink the tea and then eat the cup.
Yeah.
That cup was not actually edible. It was made of
God
wax.
damn it.
So he had to chew on wax until the scene was
Ew.
finished and then spit it all out. And then they obviously would have filmed that multiple times.
I was really hoping you were going to tell me it was like a caramel cup, like a cup made out of like caramel or like
Yeah, just like
sugar,
a sugar
in general.
Yep, nope, it was wax.
That's really because I remember telling you I was like I always wanted to have an edible teacup because of that stupid scene. Like I always wanted an edible teacup growing up.
Even Willie didn't have an edible teacup. He was just
That's
basically
really
eating the candle.
disappointing. They could have even made it like the wax candies that they have. Don't you? I don't eat wax candy, so I don't know if you actually eat that or not. But
I don't know. And then the chocolate river was made of 150,000 gallons of water, real chocolate, and cream. But eventually they had to change that recipe because with the cream in it, it was turning and becoming like blood red. And then it began to smell. It began to smell and get really gross.
Oh, that's gnarly.
I had to just change. Okay, now we're just going to put food coloring in water because the cream is making this disgusting.
Yeah, because it doesn't really. I've always thought that was really weird growing up. Like, it doesn't look like a pure chocolate river. It kind of looked rusty.
It's way too runny.
Or like,
yeah.
It's not thick. Like, if I'm thinking of that, I'm thinking of like a hot chocolate river where it's like thick and like luscious looking, and that just did not look appealing ever.
Yeah, I never looked at it and was like, oh yeah, that's definitely chocolate. I always looked at it as like, that just looks like gross water.
Yeah, it was gross. Like
poor old Augustus, the actor for Augustus Gloop, Michael Bolner, he had to swim in that multiple times, and he was like, yeah, it stunk.
Oh, that's so grody. Could you imagine like you getting all this fame and like money out of this film and you literally had to swim in like gnarly ass milk water? That's like rotten milk water. Ugh.
And the last production note I had was in Mr. Salt's Peanut Factory when they have all of the women rummaging through chocolate bars trying to find the golden ticket. None of those chocolate bars were actually made of chocolate. They were all just painted wood.
Oh, I mean,
obviously much cheaper to just paint some slabs of wood than actually make chocolate bars.
Yeah.
And then we mentioned the cast. Like there was obviously a bunch. Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka, Jack Albertson as Grandpa Joe, Peter Ostrom as Charlie Bucket, which shockingly, this was his only film role ever.
Wow. I mean, he owned it. Like he lived his life being Charlie Bucket, but that's like kind of sad to know that's literally the only thing you ever did on screen.
Yep. He was offered a 3-movie contract and turned it down because he wanted to keep his options open. And then
and never got any.
After feeling underwhelmed at the premiere of this movie, he decided he was going to buy a horse and then went on to become a veterinarian. So I guess he did what he wanted to do.
Lifestyle change.
Yeah, you could have probably been like one of those first major child actors to go on to do a bunch of movies. Because it was like,
I mean,
just after that, like that's when the home video boom happened and Hollywood really took off and got crazy in the 80s and 90s.
That's bonkers. Like, that's so strange to go from like such like a prominent role, like a lead character role at such a young age to being like, yeah, it's not for me. I'm just gonna go be a vet. Like, I mean, that's cool, but so strange.
Yep. And yeah, of all the children, only one actor is still acting. That's Julie Dawn Cole, who played Veruca Salt. All of the others is just a one-off thing.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Very strange, but I guess.
Yeah,
each
I
their own.
mean, maybe that was like a thing back in the day. Like child stars just didn't really like have that kind of drive, or maybe it was just like too much, like too political for them to really try and get involved in because it was just like your parents are kind of managing your life at that point. And
Yeah.
they maybe just weren't cut out for it. It just, I guess, times have changed because now it's like everybody wants to have their 5 minutes of fame, whereas like back in the day, it was kind of just, I guess, another day in their life for them, maybe.
Yeah. And yeah, I think today, like, especially like even you look at the new Wonka movie coming up, like, if there's any children in that, I get the impression that, like, the parents are pushing them into that because it's like, hey, if we
Yeah.
have a major child star,
Hmm.
nobody in this family is ever gonna have to work again.
Yeah. Which is kind of
Except for the
sad,
kid. Except for the poor kid.
but yeah.
And then the other note I had on the casting for this movie is it's all white people.
I wasn't going to say it.
It's definitely a sign of the times, like the 70s. It's
I
entirely
wasn't
a
going to say
white
it.
cast. I think even all of the Oompa Loompas are just white people painted orange, which were
Okay.
apparently
Yep.
supposed to originally be painted black. And they realized that was going to be bad. Let's not do that.
Yep.
So
Yeah, let's not
they
do
were
that.
somewhat ahead of the times in the 70s.
Yeah, that's just, wow.
Like, imagine how
And
poorly that would have aged. This would not still
terribly.
a massive, wide
They
phenomenon,
definitely wouldn't be
cultural
like
clash.
remaking it now or anything. That's for sure. They'd be like, let's throw that in the closet and pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Like, it's got its flaws, obviously, but it's still like a beloved movie across the board for, I think, everybody that ever watches it. For me, it's
Absolutely.
so far, I haven't seen Wonka yet, but at this point, it's far and away the best Willy Wonka movie.
Yeah.
And,
You know,
like,
except for that Tom
it's
and
going to
Jerry
take a
one
lot
that
to top it.
you didn't want to watch.
Yeah, no, that's a spin-off weird cash grab thing.
Whatever.
So then, as we dig into the movie itself, my first note here is haunting theme song. Like, when you think about the theme song that plays when they go to the factory, like, it is kind of haunting.
Yeah. Yes.
It
This
sets the
movie is
tone
just
of
all over
something
weird.
sinister is happening in here.
Yeah, it's not recognizable unless you're really listening to it. And then it kind of like hits you last minute. You're just like, that was kind of strange. Like, not normal.
And then, so we open at Bill's candy shop, which I just wrote down. That store has to be constantly losing money because he's just throwing candy around like it's nothing, like throwing lollies to everyone. Like, nobody's handing over cash. But then later
Yeah.
in the movie, when Charlie goes there and buys a chocolate bar, he like starts eating it like a goddamn madman, just shoving chunks of
My
chocolate in his mouth.
God, yes.
And then Bill's standing there tapping the bar like, you
Like,
need to pay me for that.
excuse
Like, bro,
me.
you just threw out hundreds of dollars of lollies at the start of this movie and no one batted an eye.
Yeah, it's
Now the poor
a
kid who
very
has no money,
strange
like,
thing.
give me some cash.
Yeah, he's probably just like, yo, you're gonna pay for that? Like, excuse me, you're gonna try and steal that? What the fuck?
Did you have any notes on the Bill's candy shop?
I don't have any notes at all
Or any
because
thoughts on Bill's candy shop?
Bill's Candy Shop is. I wish that there were candy stores in the world like that, or at least over here like that. There's not a lot. We have one in like our like near my job actually. It's been there for like forever. But again, I don't have guys just throwing candy at all the kids in there. So
Yeah, it's not like
kind
the
of a
local
letdown.
meetup spot.
Yeah. I feel like that was probably like an equivalent of like a soda fountain would have been over here. We don't have I don't think there's very many of them lying around anymore. But that's the kind of environment that it reminded me of, like a soda fountain where like people just go and like hang out and have milkshakes and shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like what would now be like the mall or Macca's.
Yeah,
Kids
something
go
like
and
that around those
hang
lines.
out and have some stuff. Did you notice the like snafu with the choreography in this portion of the movie?
No, why? Did someone fall or almost fall or something? I feel like that might have happened.
Kind of. So Bill
Okay.
comes out from behind the counter. He lifts up the counter door and leaves it open, goes off and does stuff, then comes back and it's back down. But
Oh,
then
okay.
as he lifts it to go back in behind the counter, there's a girl with a white ribbon in her hair that's a little bit close and just cops it in the bottom of the chin as he lifts it up. It's just like, ugh.
I never noticed that. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's something if you're going to go back and rewatch this before Wonka comes out, like pay attention to the girl with the white ribbon in Bill's
Yeah, she
candy
gets
shop and
clobbered.
watch her just almost get knocked out.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that's a funny little mistake to spot in the movie.
Yep. Sorry about
So-
Buddy's cameo over here. He will not. He keeps
okay.
standing up and going back down.
And then, yeah, that's where we first sort of meet Charlie and get a sense that he's different to all these other kids because he's stuck outside just like looking in longingly, and he eventually has to go and do his paper route. And that's where we get introduced to the creepy tinker who is like this creepy like butcher bloke, knife sharpener, who's just like wandering around town with a cart full of knives.
Yeah, you know what's so weird is so I hadn't seen this movie in a while, like not since Chloe was like little. It's been a minute. So the fact that I never recognized what was in his cart this entire time growing up just kind of hit me. Like going through this whole film as an adult and like rewatching scenes, I'm like, how the fuck did they get away with some of this shit? And then also like, what the fuck kind of moments. So yeah, like the fact that that guy literally was walking around and he had like a cart full of just like sharp metal objects, just like, ooh, talking to people, and then he approaches young kids and and says some creepy shit to them. I'm just like, stranger danger.
Yeah, I think this is the first point in the movie where you go, I thought this was a kid's movie and it was supposed to be like bright and airy and happy and fun, and then it's like all of a sudden it's really dark and menacing. You're like, what the hell happened? Where'd this come from? And this movie has that throughout, like bright and airy, and then next second terrifying.
Yeah, it's so strange. Like I said, rewatching this as an adult and like obviously having more knowledge of things in the world, it is just very strange, like the amount of things that they've flip-flopped on in this movie that you wouldn't necessarily pick up on originally. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, man.
Like the whole movie is kind of disjointed in that way. It's almost a movie in two halves. Like we have this outside the factory, sad childhood story of this kid that's like him and his family are incredibly poor. He has no father for some reason in this version. Like his father just doesn't exist, but they don't
mention him or
anything. It's never like mentioned like, oh, he passed away or he left or anything. He died in the war.
There's
or
just
something.
Nothing.
There's no dad. And then during that period, we're getting all of these weird interstitial parts of like, here's all the people like getting their like the search for the tickets or people discovering their tickets, and they're very weird and wacky, and apparently they filmed a bunch of them and some of them didn't hit, some of them didn't even make it into the movie, and then others did. And then at the halfway point we go into the factory and it's a totally different movie again. It's more fantastical, more fun and thrilling, but then you'll get like kids are dying, like Willy is murdering children and nobody's saying a word.
No, it's also very interesting to see how like it's almost like you step into a different world. Like they're showing you the difference between like reality versus like, carefree, almost like an imaginary kind of land or, environment. So it is a very interesting kind of like balance between like real life and imagination in this film.
And at the end of the movie, I wrote down a note too. Movies in the 70s and like back in the day, they just kind of end.
Yeah, there's no like
it's just
there's no like full conclusion. Yeah, it's very
Like,
strange the way that
oh
they
yeah,
like lift things.
we hit the 90-minute mark. It counts as a movie now. We're done.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was fun. But back to sort of Charlie and his family. We go to their house. We meet his mum and grandparents, who he has no father, but he's seemingly has all four grandparents still alive, living
Yep.
together. All four of them have been bedridden for 20 years and are just in the same bed. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's a really strange kind of situation. Like, can't imagine sharing a bed with four people, especially because you're like crisscross, like up and down. So, like, you
Yeah,
roll over in the middle of the
tops
night and
and
you're like, oh
tails.
shit, Grandpa Joe's feet's in my face. Hello. Like,
Yeah, especially for 20 years. Like, why are these people not able to get out of bed?
yeah, like at least try and get them up to exercise a little bit here and there. But poor mom's like working her ass off every day, and then Charlie's working too, which is child labor laws. I mean, is no
So
one
who cares?
checking these things?
I guess he was only like a paper boy, so it's not
But he was
totally
out until
weird, but
like all
he's
hours of the
very
night.
young. And he is very young.
Yeah.
And they are incredibly poor because they're not having cabbage soup. They're having cabbage water. It's like, ew, that
Yes.
sounds
And,
terrible.
and the
And then
loaf of bread.
is considered a banquet.
Yes.
But somehow fucking Grandpa Joe still has his cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, we're drinking
Can't
cabbage
give up
water
tobacco.
and eating bread. Like, get off the smokes.
Yeah, dude. Like life choices, decisions were made.
And then I also noted, like, when Charlie does find the golden ticket, this motherfucker, Grandpa Joe, can't get out of bed for 20 years. All of a sudden, they get to go to the chocolate factory and he's jumping up
He's
around.
like, I'm up, guys.
Totally fun.
It's time
Like,
to go.
well, maybe if you'd pulled some of that, you could have been at work and we wouldn't be drinking cabbage water and eating a loaf of bread once every month.
Yeah. Nope, not at all. It was very, very strange.
And it's
Grandpa Joe's got some good dance moves for someone who's been bedridden for so damn long, dude.
Yep. It's during this period too where we sort of get an insight as to where the upcoming Timothy Chalamet Wonka is going to be set to, when Grandpa Joe talks about the factory used to be open. There used to be all these people like himself. They were all working there. And then one day Wonka got annoyed with people like trying to steal his stuff. So he kicked everyone out and shut down for 3 years. And then all of a sudden it opened back up. But there was no staff. And that's obviously where he finds the Oompa Loompas and they start helping him out. So it's in that 3-year period where the factory shut down and he obviously has to go and find Oompa Loompas or make the Oompa Loompas or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the period where this upcoming Wonka movie is set, because it's all about Willy Wonka finding the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah. So which will be interesting.
I'm excited to see how that plays out.
I'll hold my comments. I'm not keen for it, but that's okay.
And one of the other weird interstitials we get before the first ticket is found is Charlie at school in science class helping his science teacher make some weird concoction. Did they just make nitroglycerin in class and like almost blow up the school?
Yeah, because that's safe back then.
Yeah.
We have safe practices where we make kind of chemical bombs and stuff in our classrooms.
Yeah.
To be fair, I blew up a rocket in my science class.
Yeah, but you didn't make nitroglycerin, which could just blow up the entire school. Like,
that's
mixing
true.
These things, and he's talking about nitrogen and glycerin. I'm like, wait, that's a bomb. Why are we making bombs?
And it was a very tiny explosion too. Like, I feel like with the amount of liquid that they put into that, it would have been way worse. And so it was just like, poof. I'm like, bro, no, that's not how that was going to work.
Yeah. So then we sort of start to see the tickets being found. Actually, before we do that, the other weird interstitials that I wrote down the computer attempting to predict the next ticket location, but it refuses to cheat, even though the person offers it half of the chocolate. And the computer's like, what? I'm a computer. Why would I do a chocolate? And looking back now, it's kind of like an early prediction on the AI uprising that we're seeing today.
Yeah, it's not so far-fetched.
I was like, that's actually not the craziest thing in the world.
I also like how he just presses like 3 buttons to get the computer to talk to him. Like there's not like a mess of buttons. It's literally like three buttons.
It's not a keyboard typing in a full like detailed prompt. It's like beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, it's like a stenographer or something for like the courts or something.
Yep. But I think by far and away the best interstitial, the woman who is talking to the police about her husband being kidnapped.
Your husband's life or your case of Wonka bars. Can I think it over?
Yeah, she's being blackmailed for a case of Wonka bars as ransom for her husband. And her answer is, how long do I have to think about it?
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Shows how invested everybody in this world is over these golden tickets.
I'm just saying, you know, candy bars are pretty important.
Yes. I feel like you would take the chocolate over me sometimes.
I mean, it depends on my mood and what you've done to me recently.
Wow. And so, yeah, then we start to see the tickets being found, and they, in order of when they're found, and then also of when the children slowly start to make their demise. Augustus Gloop finds his first, Veruca Salt, Violet Beauregard, Mike TV, and then Charlie. I loved during the Veruca Salt one, her dad offers all of the women in the factory a £1 bonus for whoever finds it.
Yeah, I don't know what that equates to, but I'm guessing you have the math over there.
I don't on me, but I can work it out.
Oh, never mind. I feel like it is not that impressive, but it could be.
Here we go. The value of £1 British today. The amount is 1971, end year 2023. It's not even worth much today.
Oh, okay.
£1 in 1971 is worth £17.43 today.
Oh, so it did not get that much value at all.
Nope. GBP to AUD. Okay, so say it's £18. It is 35 Australian dollars.
Oh, okay. That is like peanuts.
So that's what, 20 US?
Yeah, that's about $25 if we're being generous.
Like, cool. Cheers, bro.
That's like someone saying, here, we're going to throw you a pizza party.
I think I'd take the pizza.
I'd take the pizza.
Yeah, that's a funny little moment.
Yeah.
I think one of the other keys to this too is, so Slugsworth is always there when these tickets are found.
Yes. He's always been creepy too. He always creeped me out as a kid.
But because he's always there, it made me sort of ponder something. Were these children hand selected by Willy Wonka?
That's an interesting concept because, yeah, like how in the hell did he get like to Germany and to the US and then
they're not all in this one town.
Place? Yeah.
Like, they are all around the world, although there's no Asians, no Africans. There is one ticket found in South America, the 5th ticket before Charlie actually gets his.
By some old dude.
Which turns out to be a fake. But Slugsworth isn't there for that one.
Which real.
Further emphasizes my idea that these children are hand selected. This isn't a random order of kids.
I mean, that is a good kind of presumption. He probably they probably They could have done that. I don't know. That's a really good way of looking at it, though, because you've got one that like doesn't stop fucking eating. You you've
Yeah,
got one who just looks like a spoiled fucking brat, one who's like constantly just like chewing gum, and then another one who never fucking listens and is constantly got his head on the TV. And then you have the one good kid. So yeah, I mean, that's not too far fetched, honestly.
yeah. Like when Augustus is picked, you sort of start to think, oh, maybe these are like supposed to like represent the seven deadly sins, but then it just kind of divulges into these are just brats, and then Charlie's the one
Yeah.
good kid. So yeah, I was thinking, yeah, they're hand selected, which in doing research, the director Mel Stewart initially wanted to reveal that Willy Wonka had strategically placed the tickets in order to give Charlie the factory. But
Mm-hmm.
then that idea was dropped because they thought it would be a bit too on the nose. But all of the
Gotcha.
hints are kind of still there, like Slugsworth and all of that sort of stuff.
To be fair, out of all the shitty kids, Augustus was probably the most chill because all he wanted to do was fucking eat.
Hey, he's just a fat
I
kid.
don't.
Leave the poor fat
Yeah,
kid
he
alone.
wasn't really bratty. He was just hungry, like a little chonky. He reminded me of Snorlax in kid form.
And you can't blame him because his dad is just the same. Like when
He
they
eats the
find their ticket,
microphone.
he just chomps the mic, and nobody references that. They just continue with the interview.
Just I'm like, what? He ate a mic.
And then I also want to point out when Charlie is opening up his chocolate bar to find his golden ticket. This movie taught me how to eat. Like if you buy a chocolate bar that's like wrapped in foil and then has the like paper wrap on it, that's how I eat those. Gently peel the
That's because
paper
you don't know how to eat
open,
a candy bar properly.
and then delicately unfold all of the foil so you don't tear anything. It's also how I open Christmas presents.
Yes, you and I have a very different approach at things. When I want a fucking candy bar, I'm eating a fucking candy bar and I'm opening it up however savage way I can get my hands on it. Same thing with the presents. Unless it's in a bag, it's getting torn the fuck open.
No, gotta be gentle.
That's also why my presents look wrapped as crap. Like all my stuff has tons of tape on it because I wrap about as good as I unwrap things.
So then now that the kids all have their tickets, we go and meet Willy Wonka for the first time, and we immediately set the tone that we can't trust him because he walks out with this really emphasized limp, and his cane gets stuck in one of the cobblestones. He takes another step and realizes, oh shit, where's my walking stick gone? And does the like tumble roll and then pops up like nothing happened and he's totally fine, which is a character trait that Gene Wilder wanted to put into the movie so badly, in fact, that this having that sequence was a condition of him accepting the role.
Oh damn, I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah. He said he wanted it. He was adamant that be in there because from this time forward, no one will know whether Willy Wonka is telling the truth or not, which is exactly what it does.
Yeah, that is true. That's interesting. I like that. You forgot a very vital, important thing that happened prior to this adventure is that Charlie Bucket's teacher cannot math, and he's teaching the kids math.
That is true. He cannot figure out what 2 Wonka bars is as a percentage of 100.
Yeah, it's really bad. How am I supposed to figure out 2%? I don't know. You're teaching me math.
Yeah, you're the teacher, bruh. Dumbass. Or is it two
So,
2 Wonka bars out of 1,000? Like, why are you doing
Of
percentages
1,000.
based on 1,000?
yeah, I don't understand how that's an average either. Like average Walker bar. Yeah, no.
And I think he's doing it on 1,000 because like all of the other kids have had like hundreds.
100 or 50 or whatever it was. Yeah, that was my favorite part. I was like, sounds like a local education system to me.
That, and he's also decided that they're not going to do their pop quizzes on Friday after they've learned everything. We're going to do it on Monday before we teach you.
Yes. Again.
What?
Their
The
teacher's winning all over.
most chaotic teacher. Like, first we're going to make bombs, but we're going to test you on how to make the bombs before we teach you how to make the bombs.
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to end up with a lot of dead kids, mate. So then, yeah, back to Willy's tumble roll. All of the crowd reactions in that moment too are genuine reactions. Gene Wilder and the camera crew and the director were the only people who knew that he was going to do
Oh,
that.
that's fun.
None of the other actors knew that he was going to do this weird stumble roll and pop up like nothing happened. So all of those reactions are genuine reactions to him doing that.
I like that.
Which then also carries over to when the kids first go into the chocolate room with the chocolate river.
Yeah.
None of them were allowed to go into that room until they were filming that scene. So they got actual genuine reactions out of the kids.
That's fantastic. I don't feel like you could have actually like taught somebody how to act that out. Like that had to have been a general reaction to, or a genuine reaction in order to get something so good on film.
Especially from kids, like to get that authentic sense of awe and wonder. I was like, yeah, that's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we mentioned the Oompa Loompas earlier. What's your thoughts on the Oompa Loompa songs?
I love the Oompa Loompas and their songs. I don't care what anybody says. You can hate me for it. You can love me for it. It's fantastic. And the fact that like
they're definitely better in this one than they are in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like these ones are fun, silly, and like they have soul. These ones have like soul to them. All the ones in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory just feel hollow and cheesy.
Yeah, and I also appreciate that like they didn't back in the day they didn't depend so much on, and they didn't have the technology either, but they didn't have to depend on a ton of like visual stuff. Like it was all like, you know, real like props and
genuine
stuff like
little
that
people
they had to use. Yeah, and the fact that like they had to like use like, you know, the wheelbarrow to do things, and they're using like, you know, real like levers with like trap doors to show things, like that's fun, whereas now it's kind of just like all green screen stuff, so you kind of lose a little bit of that.
Well, in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory there's one. It's one Oompa Loompa just copied,
duplicated. Yeah,
they all look exactly the same, whereas at least this one you have different sizes, different shapes, like they're all a little bit different, which is cool.
Which goes with that whole like he saved them from their land and like, you know, brought them all there, versus like in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like you have one Oompa Loompa
like,
or all the Oompa Loompas
they're basically clones.
Makes sense. Yeah. I like the whole like their own.
I love the like karaoke elements where it's like popping up some of the words and like very comic booky.
Yes.
Another little production thing that you might notice if you like pay close attention to this, a good portion of the Oompa Loompa cast didn't speak English at all. So like if you pay close attention, there are some in there that clearly don't know what the words to these songs are, and they're just trying to go along with it. And it's like,
yeah,
it's always fun to just like watch like, oh, that guy, he doesn't speak English, he doesn't know what's happening here.
Yeah, they just like stand there and they just like boop, boop, boop.
Yep. And so we mentioned it earlier, one of probably the most memorable, aka scarring scenes of the movie, the boat ride through the tunnel, again with genuine reactions for everyone. They didn't know what Gene Wilder was going to do in this section, and he just gets more and more maniacal as the song goes on. It's also the only song taken directly from the book, which is interesting.
That is really weird.
So what do you think of the boat ride through the tunnel?
I was really hoping we could skip this. I do not like the boat ride. It makes me uncomfortable to watch it. And it's not Gene Wilder at all. It is the lighting effects and the visuals that go into the tunnel that are extremely uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, like the flashing like faces that like pop up and disappear. Really
the random stuff that like disappears. Like I think there's like a bunny that gets killed or something, or snapped in a tray in a snap or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of random really uncomfortable things that are in that. And then just like watching this, I go, how the fuck did this get into a kid's movie? Like, it is terrifying.
Yeah, I guess you look back at kids' movies of like the 80s,
Then,
they
yeah.
were like kind of fucked up.
Yeah, like there's a lot of weird ones. Chitty Chitty
Like,
Bang Bangs used to scare the shit out of me, and it still kind of does in certain spots.
like even
Like,
Bambi, like that's a kids' movie, and they kill the main character. Well, the main character's mom, like
Mom.
5 minutes
It's
in, it's like, this is
crazy.
heartbreaking. Why are we letting kids watch this?
Yeah, so I do not like the boat scene. I always wanted a cool boat, but I did not want to go down the tunnel that went in with that boat. Um, yeah, that's what I'm gonna say on that because I do not like that scene at all. It makes me very uncomfortable.
I think it makes everyone uncomfortable. And it's those flashing elements of like really disturbing imagery where you're like, I don't feel good. I don't want to be here.
No.
Plus,
Yeah.
Gene Wilder is just getting louder and more maniacal. It's like, oh, okay, get me out of this tunnel. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, and growing up, like in my head, growing up, I was like, is he really like a bad guy? Like, I used to always think he was like a fucking villain at first instead of Slugworth because I was just like, he's acting really fucking nuts. Like, maybe he is really bad.
Yeah, he's bonkers. He's batshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and like throughout the movie, 5 kids enter, 1 kid leaves, all the others maybe dead.
They turned into Oompa Loompas.
Like, Augustus gets shot into the fudge room.
Liquefied.
Are they going to turn him into a marshmallow? Oh no, that can't happen. That tube goes to the fudge room, not the marshmallow
And
room.
he's so calm and collected about it. Like, I'll just take her, make sure that you're quiet about it though, look sharp.
Mm-hmm. And then we continue through. I love the concoction that he's making, and he tosses in a couple of football boots because it gives a little bit of a kick. I was like, that's a Corrina joke.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's a me joke. That's been my favorite joke out of that entire movie since I was younger. It never fails.
And then, Violet, you're turning violet, Violet. One of my favorite lines for the movie. And she has to be juiced before she explodes.
I have a blueberry for a daughter.
Yeah, Mike TV wants to be broadcast through TV. Funny moment. And his mum like says something, and Willy Wonka just goes, "Oh no, call the police!
Help! Please stop!
Help!
Never
Police!"
Come back. Veruca goes down the chute to she was a bad egg. Is my favorite. That is my favorite like kid disappearance is her whole spiel. Like Veruca has always been like my favorite horrible kid.
And then her dad just like chases her down into the
I'm
furnace.
Coming.
And yeah, that's that moment she goes down and goes, "Where's that go?" "Oh, that just goes to the furnace." But we only turned it on so many on these days. Today is Tuesday. Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't turn it on today. So what?
I'm
Incinerated a kid?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, all the others, like, yeah, maybe they survived, but she just got dropped into a furnace. I don't think she survived.
Pretty sure and Mike didn't really like die. He just turned tiny. Like,
yeah, I don't know how you reverse that.
I don't know either, but I mean, you never know. One of my favorite parts of this whole film, and I always thought growing up that I could do that, was the fuzzy lifting drinks. I cannot tell you how many times growing up I thought if I drank enough fucking like ginger ale or something like that, that I could start floating. I was like, oh, I want to float too.
It's like the Sprite challenge. Or the multiple Sprite. There's 2 Sprite challenges actually.
Is that like a new thing? I'm not up on the TikToks.
So there's 2 Sprite challenges. The first one is drink a bottle of Sprite as fast as you can without burping.
Okay.
Impossible. Like, people get like a quarter of the way through it and they're like, "Oh, I got to burp." And then the other one, which is apparently much more disgusting and difficult. Eat a banana and immediately follow it with as much Sprat as you can.
That sounds like a horrible idea.
Yeah, because the Sprat carbonation reacts with the bananas. So it just becomes even fizzier in your stomach.
That sounds like a bad time. What?
People do that one and generally throw up.
This is
It's a good prank to play on someone. Go, hey, next time you see someone eating a banana, go, I got you a Sprat.
Oh my God, no, that's terrible. That's god awful. I don't know why kids do these challenges.
So then we're getting towards the end of the movie. There's one more moment that a scene plays out that again plays into the genuine reactions because Peter Ostrom as Charlie and Jack Albertson did not get to rehearse this particular scene with Gene Wilder because they wanted to get their genuine reactions in the office when Willy Wonka tells him, I know that you had that fizzy lifting drink, so because of that, you don't get the prize, even though you are the final remaining kid. And during that scene, he like gets very angry and is like loud and shouting and like, so you get nothing.
Yeah.
Peter and Jack had no idea that was coming. They expected it to be much more like downplayed and subtle.
Oh my God.
Like if you look at them, like they are like taken aback and
shocked
by it, and it's because they actually were.
That's nuts. I didn't know that, but that's another thing that like you had to have those kind of genuine reactions to get such great footage, I think. Like that's what made that though, is the emotion that kind of goes into certain parts of that movie.
Yeah. Like you look at Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory now, and I heard someone describe it as Willy Wonka is the jigsaw of the chocolate factory from Saw.
But where's the
like
lie?
He's got all of these like crazy traps and tricks for all of these bad people. And then like even the way the movie's produced, it's kind of like it's kind of fucked up. Like you're torturing these actors by not actually let them rehearse these specific roles or not telling them like what to expect, and then they're just getting thrown to this whole like emotional trauma and torture as they film. Like, oh Jesus,
that's insane.
And then I mentioned like from there they go in the glass elevator and the movie ends. It's like, oh, okay, hard cut to credits.
Yeah, I like the buttons in the elevator where they go all over the damn place. Like that was another like fun thing that like it was like unrealistic expectations of a fucking elevator for me. I've always wanted to like find an elevator with like 1,000,001 buttons.
Just sideways or forwards or backwards or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I love this movie. It's when you look at it with a more critical eye, like there's definitely some issues, but it's fun. You just got to go into it and just enjoy it for what it is. A couple of fun trivia things that I wrote down. As they first go into the chocolate factory and they're like taking off their coats to put on the coat hangers, the hands, they are the spray painted hands of 5 of the carpenters who were working on the movie.
Oh, that's funny. I love that.
They just got them to stick their hands through a wall and spray painted them gold. And then Willie has to enter a musical code to get into the chocolate room.
Yeah.
And Mrs. TV says that, oh, yes, that's Rachmaninoff.
Mm-hmm.
She's wrong. It's not Rachmaninoff. It is The Marriage of Figaro by Mozart.
Well, to be fair, she was a geography teacher, not a music teacher. So
yeah, I think she's just trying to like act a bit more like high and mighty, where this like really high end rich family. When you look at like the Salts and stuff like that, like
yeah,
he's trying to fit in with them, but yeah, no, She has no idea.
No.
So, in terms of a rating for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, what would you give this one?
Oh, this movie will always have a 5-star rating in my book because I love it so much and it's dear to me. Obviously, there's a lot of flaws in it with today's day and age, I guess. But for the time that it was released, I think it was just, I don't know, I think it was very underrated and it's grown on a lot of people probably. And it's just become, like you said, like it has a cult following and almost everybody that you talk to has seen it at least once, if not more. So yeah, I love this movie and I adore it.
Yeah, I think I would give this a 5 today. Like, it's gone past that. It's kind of gone past cult status now. Like, it's just
It's a classic.
it's a classic that everyone knows. So much
Mhm.
so that it's actually been archived as well.
I was gonna say, is it in the archives? Because I feel like it probably should be if it hadn't been.
In 2014, it was selected for preservation in the US National Film Registry in the Library of Congress because it is culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. So thankfully, it's a movie that, like, streaming platforms, they can drop it, but there'll always be a copy of it available for future generations.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good thing to know.
Alrighty. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoy the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and on YouTube. Keep an eye out for our Wonka review next week. You can follow Corrina on Instagram at Miss Corrina Renee, and you can follow me on social media at Jammy Ups Media and at Pario Magazine. The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Ups Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Ups Media. The following people supported at the publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support.